Imagine sitting in a classroom with the instructor delivering a lesson when the sky suddenly turns black and a sturdy wall is ripped out from behind you. Imagine all of your friends crying and screaming beside you. Are your parents all right? What about your dog? The frightening feeling of dread never left me on the afternoon of March 18th, 1925, the night the government made a devastating and deadly mistake, the night of the powerful tri-state tornado. Being the fastest, longest lasting, and most powerful tornado in history, it had killed 695 people, including my parents. It also taught the government a lesson about the importance of giving warnings in advance that saved many lives in future tornadoes. The tri-state tornado began near Ellington, Missouri, and created mayhem all the way to Petersburg, Indiana, as shown here on my visual aid. Although it hurts to remember my past, let me tell you the story of my experience. From Ellington, Missouri to Illinois and to Petersburg, Indiana, many citizens were enjoying a regular day. Most children, like me, were at school and adults were at work. The weather was around 50 degrees. Before the tri-state tornado, there were 15 recorded natural disasters in Ellington, none of which were even close to the intensity of the tri-state tornado. In 1925, we didn't have very advanced technology, so it was extremely challenging to predict when storms and tornadoes would hit. The word tornado was actually banned from our language to keep us from being frightened. I still find this fact hard to believe. How insane was that? The tri-state tornado was an unexpected disaster that could not have been prevented. This event was created when warm, moist air blew in from the Gulf of Mexico, as shown here on my visual aid, or my model that I've created. And cold, dry air from the Arctic collided near Ellington, Missouri. When the two air masses came together, warm air rose while cold air streamed in to replace it. Inrushing air spun around a small center of low pressure, creating the funnel of the tornado. Tornadoes are classified by the Fujita scale, as shown here on my visual aid. Also known as the F scale. F4 and F5 tornadoes are the most powerful, with wind speeds ranging from 207 to 318 miles per hour. The tri-state tornado was an F5. Something that was very unusual about the tornado was the extraordinary length of time it traveled. Most tornadoes last about 3 to 4 minutes, but this event lasted 3.5 hours. Late winter and early spring was tornado season around the Midwest. The land was also very flat, creating the perfect environment for the tornado to be created. The tri-state tornado had also caused twin tornadoes to appear in northern Illinois, as shown here on my visual aid. No person could have expected this unusually powerful storm to cause so much devastation. I was in school at the time the storm came near. My friends and I were frustrated when our recess was cut short because the sky turned pitch black. We also got frightened and confused when our teachers became very serious as we were led to supposedly tornado-safe areas. I clutched my bracelet. It was the only thing left unharmed that my parents had given me. I was lucky enough to salvage my favorite childhood toy. This rocking horse was trapped under the rubble of what remained of our tiny house. All that rushed through my mind was about what was happening. Would my parents be all right? I can't even imagine what the adults must have felt. During the tornado, many people were trapped in their basements due to excessive debris blocking their exits. Fires erupted along the streets because wood and coal burners were in use and they got knocked over. My father had been trapped in the general store he owned, and my mother had been carried with our house a half a mile from its foundation. My school had also been completely wrecked. The tornado had destroyed more than 15,000 homes. Most houses were completely torn out of the ground and flew an average of half to 1 mile away from their foundations. Over $16.5 million in total costs were needed to repair all of the damage. The tornado had killed 695 people in my city and injured 2,072. It was not easy to recover from the damage and emotional distress caused by the tri-state tornado. A relief train arrived at 11:15 p.m. in West Frankfort from Centralia, Illinois. The Red Cross played a big role in the road to recovery as well. In places where the damage was too excessive, they quickly built community centers. Tetanus vaccines were also brought because lots of dirt was in the wounds caused by flying debris. Within 10 days, they received $385,989 in public relief donations. The Red Cross relief operation took 1 year to complete and spent more than $2.9 million. The government also supplied tents for people like me who had lost their homes. Due to the tornado, changes had to be made so lives could be saved in the future. Since 1925, scientists have been eagerly working to improve tornado detecting technology. Radar and satellite imagery did not exist back in my day, like it does now. The government also no longer keeps approaching tornadoes a secret. Warnings are given at least 48 hours in advance if possible. What made this such a significant event is the extreme wind speeds. The tornado also made a learning experience for survivors. Now many people know how to predict weather, and they have a plan for when they hear a heavy storm alert. I am lucky to have survived the tri-state tornado, an unexpected show of Mother Nature's fury. No matter what precautions we take, there will always be the lingering danger of a tornado coming to town. The supplies the American Red Cross gave us could not ease the emotional pain. The tragedy of March 18th, 1925 will never leave me, but now I, and many others like you, are much more prepared to face the wrath of Mother Nature than ever before.